Why, as marketers, has it been such a challenge for marketers to prove the value and tie revenue back to their marketing activities?
Well, I think there's sort of two different ways to look at it. For one thing, for B2B marketers like Emerson and some of my compatriots here, it's such a long buying cycle that the salespeople that were even in charge of an account by the time you get to the end of it, if you rolled out marketing over a year or two, could be long gone. And just it's almost impossible to start from that first online search to putting in a $100 million system. So I think whether you're, especially from a software standpoint or whatever, none of those are fast. So the pure time lag, the consensus buying aspect of it, of how many people did you have to communicate to and which one made the difference, I don't think you can tell. I do think the easiest thing to tie from a metrics point of view is actually on talent acquisition through online. And of all the things you can count, how many people you reach somehow through LinkedIn, how many people came through that doorway, and how many people actually applied for a job or accepted one. So to me, that's the single best one.
Okay, so with that, though, we still have the CEOs who are saying to marketing, we gave you X million dollars to generate demand, to drive people to a purchase, to influence pipeline and revenue. So to your point, right, with a very long sales cycle, it can be difficult. But, Mark, I'll ask you, where would you even begin to start when you're part of a company the size of BlackBerry or of Emerson, or even sometimes in a mid-market company that may be $100 million a year, $50 million? We're still seeing that there's quite a challenge. So where do you start? What is the first step that a marketer can take to really help conquer this beast that has been thrust upon us?
So I would say where I would start, and where I start is you first start with the sale and then work your way backwards. And so you can do it. Like, to me, the problems are exactly right. Long sales cycle, if you sell a complex product, B2B, long sales cycle, very difficult to have an attribution model. If you're in a volume business, attribution model's a little bit more straightforward, so you actually can do it with some accuracy. But you need to start with the sale and then basically work your way back. And if you do that, you can begin to see, okay, what are things that are very lead generation oriented that might be creating a funnel, and you get an idea of that. One thing that I would do is you also need to just be insanely pragmatic. You need to walk deals back, and that means sitting down with sales. And I would spend a lot of time at Sybase with the head of sales for North America, and I'd say, I brought that deal. And he'd say, no, I brought that deal. And then we kind of get through this battle of who brought the deal. In the end, we were all better for it. Like, no egos bruised, because he pretty much said from the beginning, you bring nothing to this relationship. So, if anything, we made modest strides there. But effectively, I would start with the deals, walk it backward, and kind of go from there.
I think that point is really important, because I think as marketers, we tend to look forward. We look forward into building the awareness and working things down the funnel and toward a sale. And you don't really see where you've gone until you turn around and look back, and you see all the things that you've missed.
Yeah.
So, Brian, continuing with this thread, you're in the predictive space with Lattice.
Right.
So we're hearing that it's difficult and trying to work backwards, which is great if you can do that on individual deals, but especially if you're in a volume business. So as you kind of see in the predictive market, do you see where does that predictive help you both look forward and backwards? And then what is your view of the role of business intelligence that should be infused into marketing activities to help conquer the ROI issue?
So I think that's almost the icing on the cake, business intelligence. You got to have a firm architecture, and you got to have good processes. So I'd say only the most advanced organizations ought to be thinking about sophisticated business intelligence and predictive analytics. I think a great place to start, if I was building a demand generation machine and trying to show revenue attribution, is clear definitions and partnering up with your CFO, your CEO, and your head of sales. I think very often definitions of what's marketing influenced, what's marketing sourced, and no one has a clear understanding. So just sitting and working out the definitions of different stages and what is sourced, is it first touch, is it last touch? Very often people say, well, what did marketing influence? Well, the fact is we've influenced every deal, 100% influence. The question is how much did we source and all the touches, particularly these long cycles. So you really have to partner up with the CFO. Let's face it, at some point the CEO is going to say, what do you think of marketing? Or are they wasting our money? So you got to have a friend in the CFO, and your sales partner has to truly be your partner and really want you to succeed. The other thing is how the bonuses are paid. So I'm not paid on how many leads I generate. I'm paid exactly the way my sales leader's paid, and that is close deals. So we're highly motivated for the same goal. I've sometimes been at companies where the marketing team is doing high fives. Look how many MQLs or how many opportunities we sourced, and then it was a horrible quarter for closed deals. And it's like, how can this be? And so having the same comp plan for your marketing leader and your sales leader, I think is a really good policy.